Sandy VCAL PD presents Movie Talk Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the 2Sweet movie show. It's Thursday, the 22nd of February. We have the movies releasing today. Winchester with Helen Mirren. Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. Finding Your Feet with Joanna Lumley. And The Barbecue. Now, I haven't seen some of these films, but I might get a chance to see them later. So starting off with the program, I'm going to talk about Black Panther. I saw it on the weekend at my local cinema. I really thought it was nicely done. It is a different type of Marvel movie. I really didn't expect it. But I really thought Chadwick Boseman's performances and Michael B. Jordan were quite fantastic. It's one of the first movies to have a whole Marvel black cast. It was fantastic. I really liked it. So the story unravels as a king in Wakanda, which is a fictional African country. I really thought it was nicely done, that community. It's an African nation. The story behind it was quite nice. I enjoyed it. And all these people like wearing masks and stuff. It's such a cool movie. It's just a cool movie to watch on a Friday night with your family. Absolutely. It was fantastic. Especially when they go to Korea, there's this really good action scene. In the trailer, they would have shown it, and it's got the Black Panther in action. He's over cars and doing all these crazy stunts. It's quite easily one of the best parts of the film. In my opinion, it's a bit like Thor. It's got elements of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's spaceships and that type of era. So it's a fictional town. And it's got like all these weapons and everything. It is quite fantastic. I really enjoyed it, in my opinion. Now getting on Chadwick Boseman's performance. I haven't really seen him in stuff. But of course, Captain America Civil War, he nailed his part as Black Panther. And we got to see T'Challa. And now we see him in his own original movie. And what a fantastic thing to see. It's the start of 2018. It's only February. I was fantastic to see it. Now, Michael B. Jordan, I mean, lots of people are going to hate him from Fantastic Four. Now, yeah, it wasn't the best film. And Creed was an excellent film with Michael B. Jordan, I thought, with Sylvester Stallone. So, he's got some fans and he's got some haters, but I certainly appreciate him. He's the villain, but I think he plays the villain pretty much perfectly. I thought it was an excellent performance from Michael B. Jordan. And then you've got that African lady, Lupita Nyong'o. Now, she was in 12 Years a Slave. Now, her performance in 12 Years a Slave is excellent, but lots of people didn't like it because it was a bit unsettling, and I certainly agree with it, but I could handle it. I mean, that's what happened in those African countries. Also saw her in Star Wars The Force Awakens and the Jungle Book remake, which is mostly animated. I really thought, she's a really nice actress, and in Black Panther, she plays a very nice role. Other supporting actors in this film, you've got Martin Freeman, who we've seen in the Sherlock series. Now, that's been a hit over in the UK. We've certainly loved it. It's been excellent. He plays the role of Dr. John Watson. He certainly nails his part perfectly. And he's also played in those Hobbit films. They made 3 of them. And I really liked a lot of them. I really liked the original, The Hobbit and Unexpected Journey, and The Desolation of Smaug. I thought they were both excellent films. And the Battle of the Five Armies wasn't as good as the other ones, but I certainly had entertainment value in it. Those were totally 3 good films. And I think in Black Panther, he plays a good role as a supporting guy. Then you got Angela Bassett, which I haven't seen her in much recently, but I saw her in Olympus Has Fallen. I thought she was quite good in that. That's one of my favourite popcorn entertainment films because I really like Gerard Butler, and we'll be getting on to him later with Den of Thieves. You've also got Forrest Whitaker. He's played in so many good action movies in the past, so many great movies. He was such a good role. And Andy Serkis, who plays as a very minor supporting role, but I thought he played a very funny role as another villain. Now, this movie is classified M, but in my opinion, it's not really that bad for younger audiences. I recommend it for people about 12 years. Now, I'm not saying that because it's not scary. It's not scary at all. It's certainly an excellent portrayed Marvel movie with some faults here and there, but it's expected because it's his first Black Panther movie. But certainly it delivered. It's got action there here and there. It's a good adventure sci-fi. Especially in my opinion, Ryan Coogler was a good option as a director. He directed Creed: The Rocky Legacy. Now that one was quite excellent, and Fruitvale Station, which is quite critically acclaimed. And a shout out to Stan Lee. He has a very funny cameo in this film. He's in almost every single Marvel movie, and I certainly liked his appearance. And that casino action scene, quite spectacular. I certainly recommend those. And I certainly recommend checking the film in theatres especially. There you go. So I'm wrapping up my Black Panther review. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Now on to an Oscar favourite. You've got The Shape of Water. Now, I saw this earlier in the year, maybe about a month ago or something. I certainly thought it was quite good, and it certainly deserves its Oscar claim. You've got Sally Hawkins, who plays this mute deaf woman, who has a sort of a friendly relationship with a monster. I certainly thought it was portrayed quite beautifully on screen. It certainly is a beautiful art type of masterpiece. It's not really an art movie, but yeah, it has its art vibe. It's not really a blockbuster movie. It's one of those little films which sort of has gotten bigger due to critically acclaim. And shout out to Octavia Spencer, who plays Sally Hawkins' friend in this film. She certainly deserves her Oscar-nominated nod for The Shape of Water. I certainly really loved her performance. And you've got Michael Shannon, who plays the villain. He certainly nailed his part as well. Now, critics are going crazy over this. I didn't think it's the best film. Not easily. But the thing is, it has a mix of Pacific Rim and Pan's Labyrinth. It's basically a mix of those. From the same director, Del Toro, who's a very smart director who has a very good mind, and he creates those type of sci-fi films and fantasy films. I had a good time with this film. I'm probably giving it a 7 out of 10. Maybe a 7.5. Yeah, we'll go for a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, The Greatest Showman. Now, families were going crazy over this due to Zendaya, Zac Efron, all those young people performances. They really liked those type of actors. And I really thought it was quite magically done on screen. Certainly, Michelle Williams has a very nice role in this film. She's in it for quite a bit, and as Hugh Jackman's wife, it was pretty well done. Certainly the visuals in this film are quite spectacular as well. It's one of those family films. I'm sure if your family hasn't checked out this one now, you better check it out before it goes. It certainly is a bit of a masterpiece in the making, and everybody will love it from time to time. Now, it's the true story of P.T. Barnum, and he created a circus, and he's quite talented. And then he gets Zac Efron on board and everything. Things start to travel. It's quite magically done on screen. I certainly recommend it. Michael Gracey's directorial debut needed work, but there were some troubles through post-production because it wasn't edited properly. But the director of Logan stepped in, and he certainly fixed it up. He's also the producer of the film. Certainly, it's one of those circus films your family can just go enjoy the music, enjoy the fun, and enjoy the visuals. I'm probably giving it a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, you got Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. This was also a family fun favourite in the school holidays of 2017. Certainly was an excellent film, and I really do like Dwayne Johnson so much. So to see him on screen again in his action-type role, it was certainly a spectacle. Now it's about these 4 teenagers who were sucked into a video game. Now, the original with Robin Williams, they play an actual board game, but because this is like a modern adaptation, they play a video game and then get transported to this crazy world of Jumanji. It certainly is a fantastic family favourite. I certainly recommend it. Now, Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, they're very funny comedy favourites as a duo. They have started Central Intelligence together, which I certainly had a fun ride with. Lots of people, in my opinion, it's underrated. It certainly is such a fun movie by him. Karen Gillan, she also is quite excellent in this film, and she's a badass. She just kicks ass, and that's all you want to see on screen. It's an excellent performance. Kevin Hart plays one of those dumb guys, and one of those dumb guys, and just like in all his other films, like Ride Along, which was quite good. I enjoyed it as well. The sequel was also, it was okay, but it wasn't as good as the other one. Then you got Jack Black there. Now, he's a bit of a supporting role. Now, yeah, he's got a bit of a surprise. You'll figure out that through the film. He certainly has some funny one-liners during this film. I certainly think that the writers were excellent. And they certainly had a good thing going. Also, the journey they go on, the action scenes are fantastic. There's explosions everywhere in some scenes. Dwayne Johnson punches all the bad guys. That's all you want to see on screen. It's one of your blockbuster family favourites. Also, for the kids, there's animals everywhere. There's elephants and all these animals because they're in a jungle, and it's crazy, man. I certainly had a fun time with this film. You got Dwayne Johnson on a motorbike. Certainly is a fun family comedy. And it's not too crude like his other one, Baywatch, which I thought was underrated. I certainly liked Baywatch. Now, in my opinion, it's surprising to see a family comedy from Jake Kasdan, who made that, okay comedy sex tape. And he also made Bad Teacher, which was much better than Sex Tape, but still a crude comedy. Now, maybe he's got some family comedies on the way. He certainly can make another one, because he certainly nailed Jumanji. And, people keep going to see it, because it's just fantastic. I really loved it. Now, I know the writing was quite good, and you could expect that. The writer Chris McKenna also wrote Spider-Man Homecoming and the Lego Batman movie. So he certainly is a family fun writer. And certainly has good ideas here and there. I'm giving Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, an 8.5. I certainly thought it was excellent. It's not one of those top-rated films which you go, oh, that's Oscar-worthy, that's a masterpiece and stuff. But it's certainly a fun film for those kids at heart. And just kids in general. It's classified PG. And also, throughout the holidays, we got the young adult saga came back to our screens. Maze Runner, The Death Cure. Now, I certainly thought it was better than the first two Maze Runner films. The first two Maze Runner films were not that good, especially the second one. But the first one nailed it. The first one nailed it in direction, writing it. The casting was quite good. But this one has nailed even more. It certainly is a fan favourite in my opinion. Now, it gets a bit crazy, but certainly think it's a good fun, young adult. It's a teen type of film. Now, it's got action. It's got heaps of action here and there. Which is surprising because some of the other Maze Runner films were most like a young adult type of thing, but this certainly nailed it. It's mostly an action thriller with sci-fi. Thomas is back. He embarks on a mission to find a cure for a deadly disease known as the flare. Now, you're certainly going to expect lots from this one. I certainly had a good time with it. Now, they're back. All your favourites are back. Director Wes Ball is back. He certainly nails it, but his second one he could have done much better on the Scorch Trials, which was a lot of a disappointment in 2015. But he's come back in 2018 with a much better film. You've got Dylan O'Brien, who we saw in American Assassin earlier last year. He certainly, with Michael Keaton, if you remember it, it certainly was a type of entertainment film. And he's doing what he does best, entertain. You've got Ki Hong Lee as Minho. You've got Kaya Scodlaro as Teresa. You've got Thomas Brody Sangster as Newt. And Will Poulter is back as Gally. Now, I really liked him in Detroit, which I watched really recently. I certainly thought that was an excellent film, and he's much better in Detroit. But he's still a very good actor in Maze Runner. It's a fun teen type of film, but I think some adults will have fun with it. It's quite an entertainment type of film. I'm giving it probably a 7 out of 10. Now on to Margot Robbie's I, Tonya. Now all critics were talking crazy about it when it started, and certainly Margot Robbie has fun in this film. She plays competitive skater Tonya Harding. Now, I didn't know this story because I was much younger when it happened, or wasn't even bored. But it certainly was fantastic in my opinion. It is a bit overrated. It's not as good as expected. But it's certainly, here and there, is a good movie. Sebastian Stan is quite a good actor in this film. And surprisingly, I'd love to see more of this guy. Paul Walter Hauser. He plays Sean, Tonya's bodyguard. Now, every time he was on screen, I was laughing. He's hilarious and certainly an underrated actor. I certainly would like to see him in more stuff in upcoming years. And the way I saw her story on screen, I think it was, portrayed as her life, and it was quite interesting to see it on screen. But it's not as good as you expect. It's funny, it's a drama, it's a biography. It's all those things. It's like an interview type of film, so it goes from real life to basically the story of what happened, using real life clips to show it. Now, British director Craig Gillespie certainly had fun with this film. He's already starred in another sport film called $1 Million Arm, which I thought is really underrated. It was quite a good movie with John Hamm. I think you should check it out. And Alison Janney, she got an Oscar for this, so her performance was quite good, but she just beats Tonya up. She's a really awful person to be with. Her mum, Lavona Gold. Not saying her performance was awful. I'm just saying her person in real life is awful. Her character. She was mean to Tonya. And just really awful in every way. I don't know. Some people are going to be surprised, but I'll probably give it 6.5 out of 10. I certainly do like Margot Robbie, but wasn't as good as they expected. But still, a good movie to check out in theaters. I think it's important to hear her story, and quite fantastic to hear it. Now you got the action heist thriller, Den of Thieves. No, I certainly had fun with this one. You've got, it's about a heist. Now you got money, you got thieves and everything. Everything's happening all at once. It's entertaining, it's action-packed. You've got Gerard Butler, Pablo Schreiber, O'Shea Jackson Jr., who is Ice Cube's son. You've got 50 Cent, who plays a supporting role. But still, I really liked it. I mean, you got Big Nick O'Brien. Lots of people didn't like it, but I liked to hear about his story with his family. His wife leaves him, he doesn't get to see his children, and that's quite sad. I mean, it's a drama in a lot of ways, this film. And he's a big cop, he hangs out with girls and stuff and all that while he's married a couple of times, and he makes a lot of mistakes, but he really wants to change, but then it's too late. He's already involved with cops, and he's a cop himself. He's dealing with big guys with big guns, and basically he just wants to kill them because they're thieves there. And yeah. So he goes, it's a crime saga. I mean, follows the lives of an elite unit called the LA County Sheriff Department. So he's a sheriff, basically. And then you got the other side, the successful bank robbers who they try to rob banks and they try to get money and everything. No, it's a good film. I mean, I really liked it. I really didn't get any faults with it, like most people. But lots of people didn't really like it. But and that's from writer Christian Gudegast, who wrote London Has Fallen and also A Man Apart, that 2003 action movie starring Vin Diesel. Now, it's his first directorial debut. I certainly liked it. He has a lot going for him, and I think in later years, he will be a good big director in Hollywood. He's certainly got to have a bit of practice. And this movie may have a bit of editing issues here and there, but that's really only the faults. I'm giving Den of Thieves a 8 out of 10. Now on to The Post, which is the true story of the Pentagon Papers. Now, I really had a good time with this film. I learnt about something which I never knew before. And I really love these type of history films. You don't have to go and Google and research stuff. All these big actors can portray a story for you. And that certainly was a good opinion in mine. Meryl Streep, she's always in good roles. And so is Tom Hanks. So you expect big things from this film, and it certainly delivered, I can tell you. It's a good drama, it's a good biography, it's a good history lesson. Between the Washington Post and the Pentagon Papers and everything. And they made a decision which could have changed the world, and they did a risk, and, lots of things happen in this film which is quite interesting. And it's basically a cover-up that spanned 4 US presidents that pushed the country's first female newspaper publisher and a hard-driving editor to join an unprecedented battle between the press and the government. So you could certainly see a good packed film there. You've got very well-known director, Steven Spielberg, nails every movie he's directed. He certainly is a fantastic director. Not fantastic, a masterpiece director. And you can see him in Ready Player One, which is his next directorial movie coming out real soon. And if people aren't familiar with Steven Spielberg's work, I can name a couple of his films. Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, Saving Private Ryan, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and Jaws, to name a few. From there, you know that he has the guts and he has basically the determination to get every film right. And he nailed The Post. I think if they chose a different director for The Post, it wouldn't have been as good as this. He certainly was fantastic. You've got Kay Graham, Ben Bailey's True Story. Jesse Plemons is there. He's a very interesting role in this film as well. So I'll wrap up my Post review now. I'll give The Post a 7.5 out of 10. Next up is Molly's Game. Now, this is a 2017 film, but in Australia it was released in 2018. I think there was a bit of post-production issues, like couldn't get the company right and all these things, financial issues. But certainly when I got to see this film on Saturday, I just loved it. I love the film. I just keep praising about it. Because in my opinion, it was perfect. There weren't many faults with this film. And Jessica Chastain as Molly Bloom. Actually, the real life Molly Bloom asked if Jessica Chastain could play her, because she really is an underrated actress in Hollywood, and I think she should get more bigger roles. She certainly nailed this part. You got Idris Elba, who's a tough lawyer. He won't stand a chance. Like, hey, he just wants the case done, and he's a really good guy, and it's all about money. It's all about entrepreneurship. It's about all those big things in business right now. Certainly in this time, it's good to see it. She basically was an Olympic skier. And then she turned to run the most exclusive high-stakes poker games. And then, she was running poker and with no experience. Like, she was a skier to start off with. Basically, just using her intuition, she created perfect poker games. Certainly was excellent to see on screen. I didn't know much about poker, but I certainly learned a lot of things from watching this film. Now, they mentioned lots of things in poker, and I took a lot of things back from it. It's a good biography. I love to hear her story. I think she sort of nailed it here and there. And not here and there, sorry. I'm saying no, it was nailed everywhere. It was excellent film. It may have had some faults here and there because Aaron Sorkin's first directorial debut, but he should be directing more often. And he has lots of experience with writing. He wrote The West Wing, The Newsroom, those popular 2 TV shows which everyone is talking about now. A Few Good Men, Steve Jobs, and that other film, The Social Network, which is all about Facebook, which everyone uses now. Now, Jesse Eisenberg, that was quite a good film back then, and I certainly love it still because David Fincher's a good director. So basically, I'm wrapping up Molly's Game. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I recommend everyone to see it before it goes. Now, I think in Australia, it's doing alright. It's doing well, I guess, but not doing as well as it should be. Certainly is a good film to check out. Next up, you've got All the Money in the World. Now, there's been a lot of controversy with this film. Kevin Spacey allegedly had some sexual assault, allegations against him. Now, they're all allegedly, they're not. Yeah. Now, there was a bit of debate because Kevin Spacey was originally to play J. Paul Getty, but then they did reshoots, and I certainly thought it delivered. I think that Christopher Plummer nailed J. Paul Getty more than Kevin Spacey could do. And that certainly helped the film. He's just an old guy. He loves his grandson, but he can't. He has enough money, but he just doesn't want to pay it. And then Mark Wahlberg steps in as, a Fletcher Chase. Now, it's a character who basically wants to get things done, and he just wants to get the son back. So does everyone. And then you got, worried mum, Gail Harris, who is played by Michelle Williams. Now, that was quite well done. And it's a good crime drama. It's not Ridley Scott's best work, but he's quite a skilled director, so he knows how to make stuff. And he certainly made quite an excellent, intriguing type of crime film. And it's been getting a lot of Oscar nods lately. Certainly think it deserves it. It's quite good. It's one of those early releases in January, like one of the first movies I watched in January or something. So, quite one of those early films, and it nailed it as well, so I was quite happy about that. So, wrapping up, All the Money in the World, probably give it a 7 out of 10. Yep. Now you've got the Indian historical romance Padmavat. Now it's a story of kings and queens, maharajas, and all these Indian type of stories. So Indian folk tales, which is based on true fact, actually, what happened in Rajasthan. Now I really wanted to hear it. I certainly liked watching this film. It's a masterpiece. It's got direction by Sanjay Leela Bansali, who always makes those big epic type of films. Devdas, Bajiram Mastani, Ram Leela, to name a few. Now in this film you've got Deepika Padukone, who plays Padmavat, and there really couldn't be a better person to play her. She really did this role perfectly. And then you got Ranveer Singh, who plays Sultan Khilji, who's a Pakistani emperor. He basically, wants women. He wants power, and he certainly will get it, no matter what. And you got Shahid Kapoor, plays Maharaval Ratan Singh. All these performances were brilliant. This film is a masterpiece. The sword fight scenes are perfectly well done. Sanjay Leela Bansali always spends big money on these films to make them look big and especially very well made. Then you've got Edith Rao Hadari, who you saw recently in Bhumi, which was an Indian revenge action type thriller with Sanjay Dutt. She certainly nailed her part here as well as a supporting role. Now it's basically a medieval type of movie. Now it's a cross between Gladiator and all those type of romantic films. It's a masterpiece for the eyes and the ears, as they say. So there you go, Padmavat. I will give it a 8 out of 10. Next up is Ferdinand. Now this was a holiday type of family comedy. Now I saw it because I do like John Cena. I watched wrestling as a kid. I really liked him, and I thought, if he plays the voice, it could be quite an entertaining film. I was a bit dead wrong and a bit right in lots of ways. It's a true story. He's a bull with a big heart. He doesn't want to fight. His name's Ferdinand. He's born to fight because he's like a bull, but he's more like, a love, compassion type of guy. He's funny at times, good guy to hang around with. And then you got Lupe, this annoying little animal thing who hangs around with him. You literally want to kill her because she's a pain. She's so annoying. I legit, every time she opened her mouth, I do like Kate McKinnon. I have nothing against her. But this squeaky voice she put on for Lupe, it failed. It was a disaster. I didn't like it at all. But when John Cena kept coming back, oh, it's getting better, it's getting better. When she comes back, oh, no, it's not getting better again. You know, it has its times. It's a little type of fun family movie for the holidays. Nothing special, nothing big. It's one of those, type of films. It's a small type of film as well. So basically, I've just wrapped it up. I've nothing else to say about it. I'm giving it Ferdinand a 5 out of 10. John Cena had much a better performance in Daddy's Home 2 as a cameo role. But for the family fun, kids can come and enjoy the ride. If they may as well, please. They will certainly have fun with it, but I certainly got annoyed quite a bit through this film. Now you got a film called Father Figures now. Now yes, in early February, Owen Wilson came back and so did Ed Helms for another type of, buddy comedy, but it's actually a drama in some type of way. Certainly thought it was quite done nicely. It had supporting role by Glenn Close as their mum. There were other guys as well. Harry Shearer, you saw in The Simpsons quite regularly. Terry Bradshaw, who you've seen in Better Late Than Never, which I've been watching on Channel 9 recently. It's a very funny program. I'm sure lots of you have seen it. Ving Rhames, he's very funny as well. You've got J.K. Simmons, he's always fun to watch. Christopher Walken, to name a few. Now, probably not even many people have heard about it because it's a small type of comedy which came out in limited release in Australia. I came to watch it. There was only one session, 10 a.m. I went to watch it with a mate and certainly thought it was funny. Had its moments. Had its cringeworthy moments. It had a good family bond there. Yeah. It's a fun type of film. So basically the story goes, they learn that their mother has been lying to them for years about their deceased father. So the two twin brothers hit the road in order to find them, which involves all those characters which I've mentioned. Now shout out to Cat Williams as a hitchhiker. He certainly has a hilarious performance in this film. Certainly thought it was nicely done. And yeah, so I'll wrap up my Father Figures review. I'll give it a 6.5. Certainly thought it's much better than the critics are saying it is. It certainly was a funny film and I had a fun time with it. Another film I saw on the holiday break was Downsizing, starring Matt Damon, Christopher Waltz, and Hong Chow. Now this is a really different type of comedy, drama, sci-fi film. It was directed by Alexander Payne, who directed Descendants and Sideways. It basically tells a story of a couple who decide to undertake a newly invented procedure called downsizing to start a new life in a different type of community. But then after that, something happens huge in his life, so he has to just reassess his life and stuff. This film, quite interesting. It's different to what people think it is. I mean, it's type of a different film. It certainly has some good sights in there. They go to Norway at the end of the film. There's all these spectacular mountains and everything. Certainly the scenery is perfect. The performances were a bit average but funny at times. So I'll wrap up my Downsizing review. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 Downsizing. Certainly had big things going for it, and they certainly delivered in different ways, as they say. But sorry, I might get back to that. I mean, I did like Jason Sudeikis in this film. I like Matt Damon. I like Christopher Waltz. They certainly nailed their parts, but I was disappointed to not see as much Jason Sudeikis as I hoped in this film. He certainly just disappears halfway the film, and you're wondering, where did he go? I'm still wondering, where did Jason Sudeikis go? Never mind. Another film I forgot to mention, which I watched on the holiday break, The Commuter, starring Liam Neeson, Vera Farmiga, and Sam Neill. Now, I think this one has stopped showing in many theatres. It was nicely done, but maybe didn't do as well as it hoped. Now, basically, The Commuter's cross between Murder on the Orient Express and, type thrills like Taken, Unknown, Run All Night, all those type of films. I really thought this film was highly underrated. It certainly was quite good. I really like Liam Neeson as a person, and most of his films deliver. I really love seeing the mysteries of the train. Who is the person, who is that one person he has to find, who Vera Farmiga tells him to do? He goes on a quest through a train. Such a Hitchcockian type of thriller vibe. Type Pyro, which we saw on Murder on the Orient Express. But this is much better than Murder on the Orient Express. It has action, it has thrills, it has crimes, it has drama. And there's also a bit of a story to this. He's basically a businessman who's caught in a criminal conspiracy. He has nothing to do but clear his name. And on the way he'll discover secrets and things which he never knew was going to happen, and all those things. Certainly had some good explosion, some good train crashes, and just good old-fashioned fun. Certainly was a good start to January. Well, director Jaume Colette Serra is quite a popular director. He made all those type of films I mentioned, Run All Night, Unknown, and Non-Stop. Which, Non-Stop, it's quite non-stop on a train, this type of film. It's quite similar to Non-Stop in a lot of ways, just on a train. But still, it delivered. And I thought it was quite good. I'd probably give The Commuter, if I thought about it, maybe a 8 out of 10. Yes, because I thought it was highly underrated. And it delivered in lots of ways. I'm giving it a good time and saying that because I really did enjoy it. I had a good time with this film in the theatre. It was a good experience. So I think that sort of wraps up the movies I saw in 2017 to 2018, like holiday type, and recently films I saw last weekend and everything. But there are some films which I have to see, and some which came out today, because today's Thursday, so it means more movies are coming out today. Hell yeah. You've got Winchester with Helen Mirren. Now I've thought about it. It's a biography, fantasy, horror. I'll see it if I get the chance. If I don't see it, it won't bother me. I don't really have a high interest in this film. But Sarah Snook, she was quite good in The Dressmaker, that Aussie film. But I don't know, it could be not a good film to see. You've also got Game Night, and every time I go to the movies, I always see this trailer. It's such a fun trailer to see, and the movie will be even more fun. It looks like such an outrageous comedy. I mean, you got crazy stuff, comedic violence everywhere, and everything. It's just good fun. You've got Jason Bateman, who you've seen recently in funny comedies like Office Christmas Party, Zootopia, Juno, and everything. And then you got Rachel McAdams. I really liked her since her Mean Girl and Notebook days. She is a good actress, and those films are quite good. Kyle Chandler's in this film. You've got Jesse Plemons, who we saw in The Post. Some big names. You've got Dexter, Michael C. Hall, who we saw in Dexter ages ago. He's sort of making a comeback in this film. Now, this movie's quite a spoof. If you've seen in the trailer, they mock Taken 3 a bit. Now, yeah, Taken 3, I thought it was alright, but lots of people put it down. It was quite entertaining, but not Commuter style, yeah? So Commuter's quite better. Yeah. This comedy's funny. It says the guys are going to be dancing in it, comedy, violence, all those things. Crime, car crashes, car chases, planes. Oh, this delivers good fun by Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema. Certainly much better than their other offering, The House, which came out last year. When I get the chance to see it, I'll be watching it real soon. Probably watch it with a couple of mates or something. Yeah, and we'll see, But this definitely is going to be better than Winchester. And I'll watch this before Winchester. In my opinion, Winchester's probably going to drift off because it's not that entertaining and I don't want to see it, to be honest. But I'll see it to review it, maybe. There's a bit of a chance I may see it. You've also got that Aussie comedy called The Barbecue out this week. Yes, The BBQ. Now, I'm sure hardly anyone's heard about it. It's an Aussie comedy. I saw the preview in Father Figures. It's got that Aussie guy Shane Jacobson, who you would have seen as Kenny a couple of years ago. You've got Magda Shabansky, who you've seen in Kath and Kim. You've got Manu, who you've seen in My Kitchen Rules. And Julia Zamiro, who you've seen in all those SBS shows. It's one of those type Aussie-made movies, and I don't know, could be fun, could be a bit boring. I have no idea. I don't have much to expect from this film. I might go see it, but of course I'll see Game Night before. I'm not sure. I haven't made up my mind yet. Another comedy out this week. Notice that at the older generation, you've got Joanna Lumley, Imelda Staunton, and Timothy Spall. That Finding Your Feet, which is like a romantic comedy for like older type of audiences, a drama as well. Saw the preview in Molly's Game. I thought could be good fun, but I'm obviously going to see Game Night first because I'm one of the younger generations. I certainly want to see those type of fun films. Still might be alright. I honestly have no idea. I might see it, I might not. I don't really know. Another film out. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I haven't got the chance to see this one. I might not get the chance. I'm not sure. There's been some other films which I've had high on my list, so I went to see those first. I don't know. I might see it at the cinema. I'm not sure. I might wait for the Blu-ray. I haven't made up my mind yet. You've also got The Dark Tower with Gary Oldman. Now, Gary Oldman's alright, but I don't really like him as an actor. He's not my favourite type of guy. You've also got Phantom Thread. Now, I think that's left my local cinema. Daniel Day-Lewis. It looks like one of those one of those dramas at an older generation. I certainly gave it the skip, and I don't know, lots of people might like it. Just go and see it, because I've heard it's got good rave reviews. Another Indian comedy, Padman, type of biography film. Wanted to see it, but I haven't got the chance to it. Wasn't in my local area, so couldn't really see it. But I really like Akshay Kumar. He's a very brilliant actor, and I've sort of been a bit sad that I didn't get the chance to see this film. I think it's probably gonna leave really soon. Also got Pitch Perfect 3 out. Now, I certainly gave that the skip as well. I liked the first one. The second one wasn't that good. The third one's probably going to be worse, so I certainly skipped it. There certainly have been some other good summer releases, so I chose to see those first. I may see this. I'm not sure. I have no clue. Another film I avoided, Insidious, The Last Key. I saw it reviewed. It looks like garbage. I chose to avoid it like the plague. You can make whatever decision you want. I know it's not many sessions now because lots of people hate it, and it's terrible. There's another Indian film, Ayari. Now, I really wanted to see that, but that's still not in my local area, so I might not get the chance to see this film. I would like to see this film. I'm not sure. If I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't. Another film out, The 1517 to Paris. Now, I have been planning to see this today. So, next week on my review channel, I will be reviewing it. I haven't got the chance to see this film yet. Certainly because of the other movies released. And it only came out, I think, 1 week ago, or more than 1 week ago, maybe a week ago and 5 days. I certainly have seen the trailer many times. I have been excited for this film. I really would like to hear the true story from Alec, Anthony and Spencer. I like the idea that Clint Eastwood used the original people in this film to portray their own story. They were all soldiers. They train. It's just like, looks like an entertaining film to put on screen. I really think I'd love the end of the film because it shows the terrorist and all those things. It's about those 3 Americans. They discover a terrorist plot aboard a train whilst in France, and they holiday. They go through school. They show their younger lives. All these things. High expectations for this film due to Clint Eastwood's direction. He made Sully, which was out recently. He made American Sniper, which was out a couple of years ago. Certainly has big things going for this film. And I'm certainly excited to see it today. Another film I haven't seen, Lady Bird. I'm not sure what to expect for it. I haven't seen it yet. I might get the chance to see it. I'm not sure, to be honest. There's a big film coming out March 1. I know Red Sparrow now. I've seen the trailer a lot of times at the movies. I would like to see it on screen. You've got Jennifer Lawrence, the director. It's got the same director, Francis Lawrence, who made The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Hunger Games Mockingjay. Now, those were entertaining films, but they sort of dragged on a bit, and they certainly lost their appeal now because they're old and everything like that. But years ago, when young adult things were the big norm, they had a big thing going for them. I know that Joel Edgerton's also in this film. I liked him in Felony, that Aussie crime drama. It certainly looks interesting. You got Jennifer Lawrence in a bikini. You got her in a ballerina. Her killing, her doing all these crazy things. So you certainly don't know what to expect. So I'm certainly going in with, I don't know, maybe high expectations. I certainly would like to see it when it releases on the 1st of March. And I'll probably see it when it releases. I'll certainly get the chance. It's about a school. They're sparrows. She basically, she's a ballerina. She's recruited to a Sparrow school, a Russian intelligence service, where she's forced to use her body as a weapon. But her first mission, she has to target a CIA agent. Now that's a good plot. I certainly think the cast has good expectations as well. You've got Mary Louise Parker and Jeremy Irons in supporting role. And releasing on the 8th of March, you've got the action history drama, which is based on the 2001 true story of the horse soldiers. Now, this was released earlier in the United States due to post-production and all those type of issues. We haven't got it yet. I certainly will watch it when it comes to my local cinema. I have seen the trailer many times. It looks like a crazy type of thriller. Crazy type of war action type of history movie. It's got crazy explosions everywhere. You got soldiers. You got everything. You got all that type of entertainment value. And also, I think true story and yes, high expectations with this one. Releasing on the 8th of March. And you've got Chris Hemsworth, the Aussie. You got Michael Shannon, Michael Penner, Trevor Nate Rhodes. Certainly looks like a journey for the film industry. It's like a film type of journey you go through, and I certainly will be watching it when it releases. Another film I've been waiting for with anticipation, releasing on the 8th of March. Bruce Willis is making a comeback in Death Wish. Now, we haven't seen him on the cinema recently. We've seen him on all those direct-to-DVD films. Like, he just released Act of Violence about 2 weeks ago. Or a week ago, was it? I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. I might get the chance. But basically, it tells a story of him. Basically, his wife gets killed by all these robbers. And then he just starts to take revenge. So it's a revenge thriller and all that. And what a better person to see Bruce Willis back in an MGM film. We haven't seen that for a while. We've seen him in those Grindstone Entertainment Company films, which are those direct-to-DVD type films, which he only appears for 5 minutes. This certainly has high anticipation, and I think it will get good critical reviews. I hope so. I certainly think it looks entertaining. And it's him for the whole film. I think he actually cares about this film. Lots of films he's been making, he hasn't cared, so he hasn't started them for that long. And directed by Eli Roth. He made a lot of good films recently. So yeah, it definitely has a lot going for it. You've also got Colin Firth, The Mercy. You've got Tomb Raider coming out on March 15th. You've got Peter Rabbit coming out on March 22nd. Wrinkle in Time. Pacific Rim Uprising. I've seen this trailer lots of times. I certainly love the original with Idris Elba. It's sad that he's not in this one. He certainly is a big player in Hollywood at the moment. A big star in the industry. But you got Scott Eastwood, who was in The Fate of the Furious last year. I really liked his performance in that film. You got Charlie Day, he's back. You've got John Boyega. Now, we saw him on Detroit and Star Wars recently. Detroit was a much better film than Star Wars. I thought he nailed Detroit. Certainly an underrated gem to check out. It really is. On the 29th of March, you've got Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. You've also got Sherlock Gnomes. And on the 12th of April, Dwayne Johnson is back for Rampage. Now this looks like an action-packed feast for those type of fans. You've got the director, Sean Anders. Sorry, I made a mistake. Director Brad Payton, who made San Andreas. Now, I watched that recently, just viewed it on TV. Certainly was quite a good film, and Dwayne Johnson is quite good in it. So Rampage has big things going for it. I think I've covered most of the film news. I've covered most of the films out. So probably next week I'll definitely be reviewing the Clint Eastwood's 1517 to Paris. Maybe Game Night. I'm not sure. Might review it in later weeks. But I'm definitely going to see it very soon. Hopefully this week when I get the chance. I'm signing off for 2Sweet movie reviews.